Hello and welcome to episode 6 of our build along series, The Keeper's Lair. We're going to build an entire game from start to finish with no steps skipped. So here we are in the storyboard of our game, and this episode is going to be about the storyboard, the menus that we're going to create for our game. Now, yours obviously can look quite a bit different, so don't worry too much about what mine look like. It's really more about how to set these up. And I thought this would be a good time to kind of focus on menus. First of all, just to break the monotony of making levels, but then second, also, there's something about setting these menus up that really starts to make it feel real. Finally, you've been making levels now for a while, and you get the idea at some point, but now your menus are just kind of those old stock menus like you see these, and they don't fit with what all the work you've put in up to this point. So I thought this would be a good time to take a step back and let's focus on the menus. And I'll tell you, it really does make it feel real finally, like you're actually making something. It comes to life, it comes together at this point. So let's take a look at the title screen first. I'm just going to open the title screen. Go. So the background image was done by Mr. Quentin. He has some great skills with AI and was able to generate a nice image for me, so I used that. We've got a font here, which I'll leave a link in the description to where I got some of these assets, so you can get them if you like them, or you can find your own. But there's our title there. Now, pay attention to a couple of things along the way. At every screen, we're going to be consistent about certain things. So our button size are consistent across the board. Our font size is consistent. Our font style is consistent. So the buttons all have the default font. But the Keeper's Lair is always, the titles for each screen is always in this Reuters font. The only inconsistency when it comes to titles is this one here has a maximum text size of 100. So I want really big letters for the opening screen. But if we go to any of the other screens, you'll find that the text is always 55. So quite a bit more, quite a bit smaller. But that it's the same color, it's the same text font, it's placed in the exact same spot, 50x and 10y. So those details really matter. It keeps it cohesive, cohesive experience for the user as they're navigating through the menus. So same thing with the buttons, and you can see that on the buttons I'm using variations here so that when I cursor over, the button changes to an alternate button. That's just a nice feature, kind of helps the player know that they're interacting with this menu. One thing I haven't done yet is I haven't added button sound, and there's a reason for that. I also haven't added menu sound. Any of this sound audio stuff I haven't done yet, and that's really because Mr. Quentin is also producing the music for this game, and I haven't heard it yet, so I want to try to match the audio inputs to that feel. So once I have that soundtrack, I'll be able to listen to it, kind of get a feel for it, and then maybe try to complement it with some tactile sounds for these buttons when the time comes. But for right now, it's not necessary. You'll notice that all of the menus are using essentially the same gray muted background, except for the title screen. Got a lot more rich color to it. That also is a design choice on my part. It gave me two screens to choose from, and I thought, you know what, why not use both? So I went ahead and used them, but that consistency throughout is really important. And then I got to the about screen. This is the about screen, and I chose to make it the credit screen instead. So we have some credits right now. If you want to see your name on this screen, all you got to do is contribute something that I'll choose to incorporate into the game. And there's lots of opportunity for that still. So don't be afraid to send me something. You can email me or ping me on Discord and we'll talk about it. but you can see he's already credited in the screen art. He'll be credited in the music as well, because we know that's coming. Programmer had to shout out to Necrum. He did all the programming for all the behaviors we're using, so he deserves credit for that. And even you have gotten credit in some small way, the GameGuru Max community and the Blood Moon Interactive YouTube community. So even if not mentioned by name, you're still getting credit for contributing, for watching the videos, for voting on like the title, all of those things. Okay. And of course, lastly, Craven 3D for the blockout, which honestly I haven't really used much since I think the second episode, but it was still useful for getting that secondary height. So that would be appropriate to credit him as well. But I didn't have any room on that screen for any more, right? It's just laying it out. I wanted it to be nice and clean, and there really wasn't a lot of room to cram anything else in here. And so I needed another screen. So I added a button here, and this button goes to another screen. And when you do that, when you add a button to one of these menus and you tell it what to do, it's going to add a little node on the side here. See, there's more. So it knows that this is an output that it needs to add, and it adds that for you. So anytime you add a button there, it's going to add an output. That output goes on to the next screen. So this is just a custom screen. You can do that by just clicking add new screen, and it'll add a new custom screen. Also, if you're missing any of these screens at all, make sure that you've got this view advanced settings tick box ticked, because I noticed that if you don't have it ticked, there may be some screens that aren't there. I think it's just the simplified version of it. I wanted to do all the menus, so that I have that ticked. I forgot to mention that earlier. But here we go. So here's the additional screen, and I just basically, stuck with it. So for Mr. Quentin, because he is providing both music and art, I wanted to give him a shout out to his website. So I got to collect that information. So that information will go here when I have it. I got some art from Sketchfab. I got some art from freesound.org. There's some more stuff coming, like the buttons from VectEasy need to be credited. So there's a little bit more work to do, but you get the idea for that. And the concept that I wanted to make sure you understood is that if you add a button, you get an output, and you can add additional screens. So you can have as many screens as you need to be able to add any additional information for your game. Another thing I chose to do was I went into the controls screen and I took out anything that wasn't relevant. So in our case, there was some default information about how to use weapons. That's not relevant in our case. And so at first I cleared it out. I emptied out all the text, but it didn't really go away. It just said empty text. I was like, oh, that's not what I want. And then I noticed that there's this little tick box here. It says hide text. So anytime you see this little H in parentheses, it just means it's hidden and it won't show up on your screen. So that's the best way to do it. If there's anything in there that you don't want to see and you can't seem to get rid of it, then just hide it. We can talk about the end screen. So there we go. So when the game is over, once we finish the last mission and we beat the game, you'll end up ultimately at this screen, which indicates that you've escaped, but the keeper is still out there. So I don't intend to actually kill the keeper because I don't have a way to do that. I don't have a weapon. Keeper's going to escape. Sorry for the spoiler, but he is. And so, but there's a reason for that as well. This is a demo, right? It's not a full game. And I want to keep it as open-ended as possible so that I'm really hoping that you will take this idea and run with it and make it your own. You can add all kinds of different things to it. We didn't do an inventory. We didn't do jump scares. We didn't do a whole lot of secrets. Like there's so much more that you can add to this game concept. So I wanted to leave it open-ended, kind of like the ending of a part one of a movie, so that somebody can go and make a part two and run with it. So that was the idea behind that. You'll notice that I don't have a game over screen connected, and that's because I don't intend for the player to, I don't intend for it to be a win-lose scenario. If you die in any of the levels, you'll just start over at the beginning of that level. That's what the checkpoints are going to be for, to kind of save that progress. But we don't really need a game over end screen, I don't think. However, I have not tested this. So we have a game over output and we have a win level output, but you're not going to win the level on any level except for the last one. And so here I've kind of connected this, even though that's not the last level, to the win screen to kind of show you how that would look. But that ultimately will be one more level right here, and that'll be the one that connects to the one screen. And I just don't think I need a game over screen if I don't want to. But again, without testing it, it's kind of hard to know that for sure. So take that for with a grain of salt for now, and we'll find that out together later on. The other thing that I chose not to use was a save screen. So remember this, if you have access to the screen, then you're able to click this button and it'll write a save file and save your progress, and then you can load it. Now, you might choose to add that feature in and allow your player to save mid-level. I don't want to do that. I want them, these levels are really small, and so I want them to complete a level from start to finish, and then it'll save for them along the way. That's my design choice. You can take another path, but because I'm not using this, then I set it aside over here and didn't bother editing it. And then the last thing I did, which I think I'm least proud of, is the HUD screen. So I did want to use the default in-game HUD, but I am not an artist of any shape or form whatsoever. So I don't really have a lot of options here. I took a image that came with the VectEZ images that I'm using for the buttons and added that there, but it didn't have a really good health bar image. I had to go find something and it doesn't quite match up. It doesn't look right. I'm not happy with it. So here is my request to you as a viewer. If you have some art skills, you want to try to contribute, you want to see your name on that credit board. Here's a great opportunity to do that. If you have, some art skills and you want to contribute a really cool health bar. We don't have to keep this. We can get rid of that if you want to do the whole thing yourself. So I'll open that up to whoever wants to contribute. I'd be happy to add something in there. Just bear in mind, if you contribute something to this project, then you're assigning Creative Commons license to it, meaning you're allowing anybody to use it and distribute it and so on. So just make sure that's clear. There's one other thing that I think would be easy to escape our attention if we didn't know it was there, and that's the edit game settings. So this button here, when we click on it, it opens up this little dialog box, and we have a number of different things that we can set up here. So I created a thumbnail image, which is really just the main menu image without the buttons, and that's going to be our game thumbnail. We have a description, and you have the edge of the game world. Now, in our case, our player is trapped in an indoor level. There really shouldn't be any possible way for the player to escape the bounds of that level and get out into the game world. But should they find themselves at the edge of the map somehow, because glitchers are going to glitch, then this is the message that they'll be greeted with at the bounds of the level. How in the world did you get out here? So hopefully nobody will ever actually see that. And I made a little icon. Again, I am not a graphic artist, so I have very limited skills. I figured, you know what, that's good enough. TKL, the keeper's lair. And then lastly, a little information about the game developer, if you want to add that in there. But I just kind of talked about the project and what the intentions were and how it was created. So, and then I allude to the about page for more information on the contributors for that. So it's really not about me. It's about all of you contributing and making a game together. But that's it. That's the menus for our game. There's one last thing I want to point out that I thought was a little disappointing, and I'm hoping that it'll be fixed in when we get project folders, but I don't know this right now. And that is, notice that the name of the game is still Maze. I think I initially said that you could change that later. I'm wrong. I was wrong. I cannot figure out for the life of me how to change the name of this game. It creates a folder in our installation folder, and that's where it derives its name from. And I thought that if I just renamed it, then it would, rename here. Like, I knew that there wasn't any kind of interface for that, but I thought maybe if I just renamed the folder, it'll reflect here. It doesn't. What happens is it ends up creating another project on the project board over here. So it would create another one here instead of renaming this. So there doesn't seem to be a way to change that name right now. I don't think it's that big a deal, because when you export your game to a standalone game, then you'll be able to overwrite manually the exe file for it, and change any other labeling issues, with the files that get exported before you package it up and put it wherever it is you're going to put it. So I think it's, it's inconvenient, but it's not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker of any kind. So just wanted to let you know about that. But that's it. That's everything you need to know about the storyboard and the menus. If you enjoyed the video, or if you learned anything new, by all means, please be sure to click the like button down below. That helps the channel out a lot. It really does. If you're new here, or if you just haven't subscribed yet, kind of a weird place to start, but welcome. Please be sure to click the subscribe button and go back and watch the previous videos so you'll understand what the heck I'm talking about in this one. And then lastly, if you'd like a notification for whenever new videos are posted, just click the bell icon, and that'll let you know when a new video is ready. But thank you so much for watching all the way through. I appreciate it, and I'm excited, guys, to finish this game. I think we're getting really, really close. Like I said, there's just one more level to make and some refinement and maybe something else, I don't know, but those are the only two things that are on my mind right now. So we're really getting close. But that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.